Today's a rainy day. I thought I would take an opportunity to show you my spooling and despooling machine that I made up. I have some, I have some large reels that I need to spool and unspool. I've done it by hand and it's a real pain. So I made this up. Couldn't really afford to buy one. They're way too expensive. So I made this up out of parts that I had, some parts that I built, some parts that I bought. So we'll start over here. I had an old piece of 3/4 inch pine. I made this box up to mount the spool holder. This is a pen spool holder. It has a friction drag that you can put quite a bit of pressure on, which is important when you're winding braid onto reels. You want it nice and tight. So that does a trick there. This was, I think, $70. I bought it on sale. It's really the only big piece I bought. And over here we have the motor unit. It's a bracket that I made out of 3/4 inch plywood. I have a drill, reversible. It's not variable speed. I put a 1/2 inch chuck on it. And it goes in through this 1 inch bearing that I put in here. Adjust in and out. There's a speed controller here that's hooked to a foot pedal, so you can vary the speed somewhat. It's mostly on or off. It's very hard to adjust the speed to good speed. Now this unit takes several adapters. I have this adapter. This is the 4-jaw chuck from my wood lathe. I bought a 1-inch bolt, cut the head off, drilled a hole in it. This goes through. Into the drill chuck. That will wind line onto a spinning spool. I have a bracket that I welded up. And a rollerboard wheel goes on here. This mounts on here. And that kind of guides that on there. This spool has several positions on here. I put some thread inserts in here, so I just loosen the bracket and I can move it over to line up with this. So that's that. This is the reel holder. You take different size reels. This is a Penn 113. I have a 1-inch aluminum that I drilled holes in. Rod there. It goes in the drill chuck. I have this little piece that I built. It's a 1/2-inch rod, 3/8 rod, some 3/8 gas line that I had hanging around. It's got a flat on the side. This is adjustable to an extent. Can go in and out. Take the rail. This unit here, I built this out of 1x1 thin wall tubing, welded it together, drilled holes, welded some collars on here, 5/8 rod. So 1x1 aluminum with a 5/8 hole drilled in it. Has a piece of steel on top so I don't go over the aluminum. I made these brackets up out of some of the same tubing. Just welded some ears on them. Welded some nuts on here. Adjust up and down. When you put the reel on, you can adjust this back and forth. So basically you line this up. So it's in central here. Tighten it up. Run your line from your spool. This is a guide. You come around here, tie the line on the rail, and then you can guide the line on. So that works pretty well. The other thing you can do with this is unspool reels. This adapter goes off. I have this shaft I made a couple of tapered spacers here. There's a 1/2 inch shank on the end. This is a 5/16 rod. Made a couple of spools up. Oops. Goes in there. I'm going to take this bracket again. This goes on here. Adjust your height. Fasten it in. Then I have this adapter. This is a 24mm reel seat and a piece of 24mm aluminum. There's a T-slot here, a little piece of aluminum T-slot. This goes in. You take a reel, put it on here, take your line, tie it to the spool. So that unspools reels very quickly. So those are all the main features. One other thing that you can also do with this is you can put a spinning reel on this reel seat and unspool a spinning reel. This base is a piece of hardboard. It's a hardwood base that they sell to put on top of a toolbox at one of the big box stores. I had this laying around. The drill and the drill guide, I think I must have bought that about 50 years ago, and I never really used it. It sat on my shelf for years. So hardware, speed control, foot pedal, the line winder. I think altogether this cost less than $200. It took a little bit of time to make all these parts. I had a very inexpensive stick welder that Amazon sent me to test. The thing was like $90, and I used that to do all the welding. Pretty difficult with this thin wall tubing and a welder that doesn't have a lot of control, but managed to do it. The box I just made up, everything is mounted on the base with thread inserts, because this is rather thin and I didn't want to try to hold on to the wood, so I put thread inserts in. It's been pretty useful. I have a couple of larger reels that I have to wind. When you put braid on, you have to put a lot of tension on them, and this will do it. I can put more pressure on the reel than there is drag on the reel. so it winds the braid on very tight. Previous to this, I'd have to do this by hand. It was very tedious. It would take a long time. I have a larger reel, and I actually wound this by hand. It took me a little bit of time to get the old line off and put the new line on. I want to put braid on this, but I didn't want to do it until I had a way to do it that was not going to kill me. So that's it. It's been pretty useful. It works pretty well. I'd like to have a better power source that I had more control over, but I was trying to do this at minimal cost, and it functions fine. It works. It does everything I want it to do. Well, thank you. I hope you enjoyed watching that a little bit. I enjoyed making this. I like to take things that are not used anymore and make something useful.